Last time around, I decided to take on a challenge that no one had ever taken on before. And today, it is time for us to continue our journey. If you missed part 1, be sure to check it out before watching this video. At the end of part 1, we had just about made it to File Island after some grueling battles. But before we could actually get into File City, we were stopped by the Chonky Chungus himself, Master Tyrannomon. Now then, he won't let us into the city before we prove ourselves as worthy. Honestly, in this game, it feels like I have to prove myself every few minutes. It's kinda crazy. But check this out, we are heading to the Green Gym. This is one more big addition that this mod has made. In the base game, we would run around in more random domains, but here we will be traveling to places and locations that would be very familiar to anyone who has played Digimon World 1. Well, it's time to take on this Tyrannomon and show him who the true master really is. The big Chungus brings Kowagamon and Kabuterimon with him, which makes a whole lot of sense considering we are in the Green Gym. For those who don't know, these two Digimon could be recruited to the city in World 1, and they would hang around the Green Gym afterwards. I really like that. Very neat. Master Tyrannomon has Master Fire, obviously. It's an attack that becomes progressively stronger the more it is used, which could potentially be a problem if the battle goes on for too long. But that won't be the case here. The other two champion level Digimon can't do much at all, and the supposed master can only hit one Digimon at a time. It's simply not enough. All I had to do was bum rush the Tyrannomon with everything I had, until it stopped moving. Kabuterimon and Kowagamon were no problem whatsoever. Quick and easy win, and that is perfectly fine with me. Afterwards, I noticed that there was a hidden area in the Green Gym, which led to Native Forest. Boy, it feels weird to be here in World 2, but weird in a good way. I looked around for a while, but there wasn't really much going on in here, besides a couple of interesting wild enemies, that is. There was a Leomon who was imprisoned here for some reason. I don't know what kind of heinous things this Leomon must have done to deserve this, but I don't want to risk finding out by letting him out of there. Back at the city entrance, Big Boy Tyrannomon tells us about Mount Infinity, which is also a thing in this mod, and the Chaos Lord who resides there. But we can't go there just yet, cause we gotta find and rescue Digimon first, who is being held captive somewhere on the island. It is time to head to Tropical Jungle, and it seems to be a whole lot bigger and stranger than I remember it being. What even is this room? We do get to make a new friend here though, so that's nice. And who do we find as the boss of Tropical Jungle? Why, it's Piximon! Yes, I still have nightmares about Piximon, don't you? Anyway, Piximon brings Lilymon and Dark Lizamon with it. While it was terrifying in World 1, Piximon isn't nearly as obnoxious in this game. Probably been slacking off or something. We don't even need to talk about Dark Lizamon at all, since we are way past being concerned with champion level Digimon at this point. Lilymon does have Stun Ray, but she can't do any real damage. Piximon has Nature Hit, which does allow its party to make some use of the Nature Floor, and hit harder than usual. But we've dealt with this tactic before, and it is just as ineffective as it has always been. Piximon's main attack, Fairy Tail, is pretty weak too. It only hits a single target for some middling damage. All I know is that there wasn't gonna be a Fairy Tail ending for this Piximon. After an uneventful battle, our Ojama brings it to an end by giving Lilymon some flowers of his own, which she really did not appreciate. Oh well, moving on then. The Great Canyon is our next destination, and these Triceramon seem to be doing something pretty shady and disturbing behind this barrier. I decided it was best to not get in their way. Our next boss is Skull Greymon. I don't remember Skull Greymon having any significance in the Great Canyon, but alright. No deep conversations here though. The only language this Skull Greymon apparently knows is violence. Skull Greymon may have some tough looking friends, but I bet ours are better. Metal Tyrannomon has Giga Destroyer 2, which I was expecting more from. Not really an improvement on Giga Destroyer 1, I have to say. Master Fire is doing some hot damage. I'm sure it's being powered up by the floor as well. It's my go-to move at the moment. When in doubt, turn up the heat. Giga Heal Boy, the Dragomon, is mainly there because of, well, the Giga Heal assist, but it can chip in with some useful damage as well. Our Ojama guarantees that Skull Greymon doesn't have any opportunity to gain some momentum. The reverse program interrupt has been very nice to have around. Their Flame Dramon is a bit outmatched, and can't really do much for his side, except be smacked around with the rest of them. And that's what happens for the most part in this fight. Skull Greymon and his crew deal some pitiful damage, and Giga Heel Boy gets rid of it in one go, while the rest of the team hammers away at our foes. Flame Dramon was the last Digimon standing, and Courage puts it out of its misery to end the fight. The Great Canyon has now been cleaned up with the power of GG Gaming. It's time for some new DNAs. Jeff and Alien put their bodies together to create Shima Unimon. There's only one proper nickname that comes to mind when I see something like this. Say hello to Donkey! It was finally time for our Ojama friend to say goodbye and help bring in the next generation of Numemon. I thought N had earned some well-deserved rest, so it's time to bring back our old pal, Dookie. But we gotta grind some levels before we can proceed though. We don't want our new pals getting destroyed randomly after all. And before I knew it, they were ready to digivolve. Dookie decided to put on a fur suit and become Golden Freddy. Very spooky indeed. And Donkey turned into an even bigger donkey. Some uninformed people might think that this is supposed to be a mammoth, but the true men and women of culture know it's just a big old donkey. And you know what's better than having one donkey in the squad? Having two of them, of course. I bet they're gonna bring us some good luck. But enough furry business. It's time for us to clean up Freezeland. Jimmy, our strange old friend, has returned, and he is not happy about being here. He has brought an improved squad from before at least. Simply having an Angewomon on the team makes Jimmy a whole lot cooler. And the dude isn't all about aesthetics either. His Digimon have some very nifty moves too. The Weird Garurumon has Tidal Wave, which was one of the most broken moves in the base game, alongside Duo Scissors Claw. It has also been nerfed in this mod, as it is now a counter move with less power as well. Still, a party-wide attack debuff is nothing to scoff at. If we have to scoff at anything, it might as well be the Sealamon, who does some pathetic damage and ends up triggering Donkey's Evil Hurricane, injuring Jimmy's entire team. I thought I had this in the bag at this point, but then Angewomon brings out Anti-Magic. For those who may have forgotten, it's an assist that not only heals a bunch of damage, but also gets rid of injuries as well. I realized I had to take out this Angewomon before I could get anywhere. But that in itself wasn't a problem. She doesn't use anti-magic every turn. In fact, I think Angewomon only has a high chance of using it if someone on their side is injured. Since that was not the case, Freddy, Donkey, and Courage took her down in a few turns. And with her out of the way, the other two had no chance in hell of winning. Jimmy has improved, but still has a long way to go. After the battle, we find a weird thingy left behind by Jimmy. Good old Jimmy being a doofus as always, huh? I decided to show my weird thingy to Technodonna, who was quite impressed by it. There's a domain on File Island which would usually be pitch black, but with the help of my weird thingy, we'll be able to penetrate that darkness and light the way ahead. Misty Trees is up next, and boy, I don't remember this place being this convoluted and maze-like. I mean, not to this degree anyway. This mod, for whatever reason, decided to take Digimon World 2's annoying domain design and crank it up to 11, especially around this point in the game and beyond. Every domain from here on out will have way too many floors, and most floors will go on for way longer than necessary. This in itself is harder to deal with than any boss fight I've had to contend with so far. It is the hidden, non-optional boss of the alternative mod, the game design. After losing a part of my soul in the Misty Trees, I finally run into our next adversary, the Blood Knight Sergeant. Our opponent brings a ex-Tyrannomon, Digitamamon, and Tekamon to the battle. I went and tried our Golden Freddy's lovely attack, which can lower the attack and defense of all virus-type Digimon. It ended up only affecting Tekamon, but I felt it was still worth it, as I had no virus types on my team currently. If I happen to run into an opponent who has a full virus-type lineup, then Golden Freddy's love is really gonna hurt them. Besides that, it was all about hitting as hard as possible, and to heal up any damage that comes our way. It's a pretty simple strategy, but one that has proven itself to be quite effective so far. My Digi-friends are simply too strong for this sergeant, who, I am sure, will be demoted after this battle. GG Blood Knight, now get out of my way. We find Digimon afterwards, cowering away in a corner. Considering he's supposed to be a mega-level Digimon, I don't know why he couldn't have saved himself, to be honest. Back in File City, Digimon tells us all about the past, about how a legendary human and their amazing partner saved the island from pure evil. Everything was cute and sweet afterwards. But then, the darkness returned. Digimon wants us to find Digimon around the island and bring them back to the city. How are we gonna do that? Well, we're gonna do what we did in World 1. Find these Digimon, beat the diddly out of them, and force them to come back here. In a very heroic and noble way, I mean. We are heading to the Grey Lord's Manor next, which is full of scary Digimon. Quite thematic, I like it. I wanted to make some new friends, but it ain't easy to do it here. The wild enemies are usually very close to me, in practically every room. Then again, I don't think I even had enough gifts to guarantee a full heart anyway. The wild enemies, at this point, can take a whole lot of gifts before they would consider joining my cause. But while the manor may not be full of new friends for me, it is filled to the brim with more soul-crushing game design. Just like Satan used to make. Deeper into the mansion, I found a wild Skull Greymon. It actually makes sense for it to be here too. I tried to see if I could get really lucky and get a catch with only a small heart again, but the game was having none of it. No cute Skull Greymon for me, unfortunately. Further into the manor, we find a Digibeetle running around. Who is the pilot, you may be wondering? Why, it's none other than Venom Myotismon. I guess the Myotismon from World 1 finally evolved, although I'm not sure how he fits into the Digibeetle exactly. Venom Myotismon has brought a couple of very scary teammates with it. I was quite concerned when I saw this lineup, to be honest. A Mega level Digimon flanked with a couple of strong looking ultimates? How in the world was I gonna win here? Wait, hold on a second. They're all virus type Digimon, aren't they? Oh yes, well I've got a nice surprise for them then. It was finally time to get the maximum output out of Golden Freddy's lovely attack. And it was truly, absolutely beautiful to witness. Let's not forget about the fact that lovely attack stacks twice. And after 2 uses, Venom Myotismon and his buddies were looking a lot less threatening. This fight would have been very different if I didn't have lovely attack. Venom Infuse is a nasty interrupt, as it deals a good chunk of damage, along with inflicting guaranteed paralysis. I did have an assist that could heal paralysis, but constantly losing turns to Venom Infuse would have really set me back. But here, even though Venom Infuse is still a thing, the overall damage that our opponents are putting out is a lot less bothersome than it could have been. And since their defense was lower too, the damage we're dishing out is kinda disgusting. You love to see it. This really should have been a much harder fight than it turned out to be. But we gotta remember that Dookie, a Numemon, is inside the Golden Freddy suit after all. And no matter how strong Venom Myotismon may be, it ain't got nothing on a Numemon, especially one in a furry suit. Now that was some lovely GG gaming. It's time to make our way to Factorial Town. Personally, I never really liked Factorial Town in Digimon World 1. It gave me the creeps and I just didn't want to be there. On the 10th floor, we find Gyromon, who wants to stop us in our tracks. Well, that's not gonna happen, so as usual, violence will have to guide our way. This battle is pretty basic though. The base game had quite a few bosses, or mid-bosses I guess, which really weren't up to par, compared to the fights we had already been through up until that point. They were designed to annoy more than anything, to slow you down and make you use your healing items, so you'd have less to work with when you do get to the main boss of the domain. Gyromon here serves quite a similar purpose. Neither it or Gegadramon pose any significant challenge, and Guadramon is just there because it's Factorial Town, I guess. I had no problems with this fight, so it's time to keep moving. On the 12th floor, I found a really cool looking wild enemy squad, but as is usually the case for me, I couldn't get a big heart in the time I had to throw gifts at it. The game continues to try and demoralize me at every opportunity. But what this game does not understand is that we have the power of GG Gaming on our side. Dance Boy Shaky ended up joining us on our quest. Wonderful! And on the 18th floor, we meet the real boss of Factorial Town, High Andromon. Looks like Andromon has been working out since World 1. Good for him. Or it? I guess High Andromon befriended a Datamon in this domain too. Now then, High Andromon has Atomic Ray, which is a super fast move, and it will pretty much always go first. The Metal Mamemon does have access to Megadramon's Dark Side attack, which stops the target from recovering HP during the turn, but it only stays in effect during that turn. And Metal Mamemon is quite slow, so we can get our healing done before the Dark Side attack even goes off. If it was a faster attack, like the Atomic Ray, then it would have been a problem. I wonder if this mod has an attack like that. Datamon usually goes for the party-wide Plug Bomb, but can also use Chrono Breaker, which could potentially work well with Metal Mummimon, but I didn't have any real problems with it. Hyandromon can also use Spiral Sword, which is also a party-wide attack. So along with Datamon's Plug Bomb, they can spread a whole lot of damage to our team. But it's nothing that we can't heal with Golden Freddy's Giga Heal though. It may not seem like it, but this battle is quite challenging. Hyandromon and his crew may not have epic 4D chess-like strategies or anything like that, but they hit hard and often, and that is pretty much what we usually do too. So we know that it can be an effective way to go. Unfortunately, they don't have access to healing, and that is what gives us the edge. This was a proper brawl, but after taking out Hyandromon, the rest of his crew followed him to the Shadow Realm relatively quickly. After the fight, Hyandromon joins the city, or something. Great! One step closer to Mount Infinity. Courage may have hit the level cap, but it got to level 31, which meant it was finally time to welcome our first Mega level Digimon. The iconic Metal Garurumon is here, but only for a moment. Since it was already at the level cap, I thought it was better to put it into a DNA right away. When combined with Shogun Gekkomon, I got a Gessomon. Alright, that's pretty cool. I think I was legally obligated to name it Tentacruel though. Our first donkey was at the cap as well, so I DNA'd it with my Mummimon to bring back Leomon. He's still staying alive, at least for the moment. And after a whole bunch of grinding, Leomon digivolved into Super Starmon. How? Why? The answer, as always, is yes. And Tentacruel became something even crueler than before. And we can't forget about our pal Golden Freddy, can we? The Numemon in there decided to replace the furry bear suit with a furry lion suit. But don't worry, it's still a furry. Our team has been redesigned and rebuilt. Chaos Lord must be shaking right now. I can feel it. But we still have to recruit more Digimon to the city first, so we are off to Beetle Land. Soon after I got here, I found a whole bunch of Cherrymon hanging around. And the best part was that they did not try to come close to me at all. So I took my time, launching gifts at the closest one, until it was ready to be my friend. There's a reason for the nickname, which I'll get to in a moment. Anyway, in World 1, Beetle Land was a very small area, just a couple of screens really. Here though, that is not the case anymore. It just goes on and on. On the 16th floor, we come face to face with the head honcho of Beetle Land, Hercules Kabuterimon. Very intimidating, I think we can all agree. The king of Beetle Land has brought the entire Beetle gang with him. I hate to say it, but they kinda bug me. Tentacruel has Evil Wind, which hits the entire opposing party and lowers their speed too. But the Beetle gang saw that coming apparently, as we get hit with the Omega Scissor Arms in response. I realized I had to be careful with these bugs, as even the Mega Kabuterimon seems to be packing that move. Hercules Kabuterimon itself has a couple of moves, including the Giga Blaster Interrupt, but it rarely uses it for some reason. More often than not, it just goes for Blue Thunder, which is still a strong move, but my team was able to take it well enough. I went with the tried and tested go after the big guy until it falls over strategy, which allowed me to take down Hercules Kabuterimon soon enough. It took a while though, the big bug has a lot of HP. But after it went down, it was smooth sailing from there. Mega Kabuterimon can use Horn Buster, which does slow us down a bit. But the end was inevitable, after the big boy took a permanent nap. After the fight, Hercules Kabuterimon decides to help us in the fight against the Chaos Lord. Huzzah! Back at the Digimon Center, I trade away the Cherrymon I caught earlier for a Mega Seadramon. I thought it was a good idea, but it doesn't really come with any useful moves though. I think I miss my Cherrymon. But after our last recruitment, the prosperity rate has gone over 50, and you know what that means, right? It is finally time for us to pay a long overdue visit to Mount Infinity. And oh boy, they really went all out for the design here. Look at that. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. Seeing labors of love like this from fans is incredible. Props to the good people who put in the work to bring Mount Infinity to life in World 2. This place is full of wild enemies though, and even running away from them all the time can be a problem, so I ended up grinding a bit. But that led to Superstarmon digivolving into who else but Digimon himself. It makes a whole lot of sense to me. Digimon decided to accompany us to see what the fuss is all about. That's gonna be my headcanon anyway. With GG Gaming and GG Gaming on our side, I'm sure we're gonna be unstoppable. And also, it's time to say goodbye to Tentacruel and say hello to a new form of Ojama. Our team would be simply incomplete without an Ojama, wouldn't you say? And this one seems like one cruel Ojama, even though I imagine they're all kinda cruel. After getting to the 20th floor of Mount Infinity, I found some really epic wild enemies. I tell you what, that high Andromon looked real yummy. And what might that be, you must be thinking? Well, it's a new Digimon exclusive to this mod. It's Ebimon, the Digivolution of Waidemon. Its unique skill is Brain Rupture, which can cause confusion at a very high rate. But I didn't think I needed it, since it doesn't work on bosses anyway. I'm sure that's the last we'll see of Brain Rupture. I tried my hardest to bring that high Andromon to my side. I used every gift I had on me, even the ones I was hiding in my socks. But once again, instead of friendship, the game wanted to give me pain instead. But there was still hope, right? A medium heart can get the job done too. All we gotta do is hope and pray and... man, that is so not okay, game. Why did they keep the mechanic where the wild enemies can ignore your gifts? That's the worst mechanic ever, especially since you need so many gifts to get a big heart. It's so dumb. Oh well, that's how the digital cookie crumbles. During this whole thing, Digimon did learn Hung on Death, which can bring a Digimon back from the dead. But the way our Nuzlocke rules work, I don't think this move will work for us at all. Just more sad news. On the 21st floor, we meet Crimson once again. He wants to play with us and see how much we've grown. Which is kind of a creepy thing to say, but alright. Crimson here is only trying to slow us down though. Aerovidramon uses Blue Thunder pretty much every time, which we have seen a lot of already. It's kinda crazy how many boss Digimon had Blue Thunder as their primary attack when you think about it. Skull Mammothmon was kept in check by Golden Freddy and Reverse Program, making sure it doesn't get to do any real damage. And Varumanzaimon tried to demotivate my team, but it wasn't all that useful, because my Digimon are always highly motivated to do some damage. After injuring all of Crimson's Digimon with Evil Hurricane, it was a simple enough job to tear them apart, one attack at a time. Ojama Cruel showed off some real cruelty by knocking out 2 of them in one shot, and the old man used Alien Ray to put down Aerovidramon as well. Out of my way, Crimson, I've got somewhere else to be. And soon enough, our real date finally arrives. Chaos Lord in the flesh. Oh, how we've been waiting for this. And Crimson is there too, sort of like a lackey or something. What a beta male thing to do. Kinda embarrassing if you ask me. Now then, this is it. With the real enemy right in front of us, now was the time for us to choose. Die and be free of pain, or live and fight our sorrow. Now was the time for us to shape our stories. Our fate, after all, was in our hands. Chaos Lord ain't here alone though, as Crimson sends a couple of his own Digimon to help him out. The battle starts off pretty badly, as Ojama Cruel gets hit with a Thundercloud counter and gets paralyzed. And Chaos Lord brings out the patented Chaos Cannon. It may not seem like much, as it doesn't do a ton of damage, but boy, let me tell ya, it's a nasty move. Chaos Lord can keep using it over and over again in the same turn, and it will keep gaining power and hit harder each time it's used. What's more, it can't be countered or interrupted, so Reverse Program is useless against it, and so is Evil Hurricane. Magna Angemon has a bunch of stuff going on too, to keep us from focusing on the Chaos Lord. It even has access to Reverse Program to slow down our offense. And even though I never got a chance to see it, I was absolutely certain that it had a healing skill too. So before focusing on the big guy, I had to take it down first. In the background, Manzaimon was chipping away at my team slowly, and every round it was random just how many times I would get hit by Chaos Cannon. Essentially, I was taking a lot of damage every turn, but my Digimon kept going. They kept on top of Magna Angemon until it was finally knocked unconscious. With any potential healing out of the way, we could properly focus on the big red monster. This was anything but easy, but we did get some luck when we needed it. like with the Chaos Cannon not hitting too many times and Magna Angemon not going crazy with healing moves. Chaos Lord definitely gave us a proper battle, but eventually he had to admit defeat. And soon after, Manzaemon joined his friends as well. File Island has been saved once more, thanks to the unyielding strength of GG Gaming. Afterwards, Crimson runs away. Chaos Lord, though, chooses to move on from this world once and for all. GG no re, Chaos Lord. GG no re. But does this mean that our true enemy is still out there? Now, it's time to head back home and take care of more Blood Knight related business. Crimson is still out there, so our next objective is to bring that beta male to justice. Before that, it's time for some new Digivolutions. The child of Dance Boy Shaky and Golden Freddy eventually became a Bloomeramon, which wasn't very impressive, but it goes on to digivolve into a Boltmon. I guess that is also not very impressive. But it is Gef, the dumb, long-lost brother of Jeff after all. What more do you want from Gef? And Ojama Cruel was combined with Donkey to create a champion who would later on become Prince Alfred, the pinnacle of the Mamemon race. Or so I've been told by Alfred. Stoked Shrine is our next destination as we continue the hunt for Crimson. And check this out, a freaking Chimeramon in the wild. As far as I'm concerned, these are knockoff Chimeramon. The real one is, of course, still hiding somewhere in the Terra domain. That's what I like to believe anyway. Some could say that it's just a theory. A game theory. Anyway, this Blood Knight elite wants to get in the way of our hunt. That's not gonna go well for him. This feels like a big step down after facing the Chaos Lord, but we still have to be careful here. Garudamon is useless, so let's forget about that. Scorpiomon though has Guard Rock. The affected Digimon, which is usually Ebimon here, won't lose any HP for the remainder of the turn. This could have been very annoying if Scorpiomon was a bit faster. Still, it's faster than our old man, so Guard Rock is still troublesome. Cause the thing is, I had to go after Ebimon first, simply because of the deadly brain rupture, which will pretty much always cause confusion. So Scorpiomon protects it, while Ebimon goes crazy and tries to confuse my whole party. A pretty nasty combination when you think about it. Gef got confused very early on, but it did have access to reverse program, so I was able to avoid any serious repercussions of the confusion. But using an interrupt meant that the confusion would never go away, so I couldn't completely rely on reverse program as it didn't do any actual damage, and I had to try and put that Ebimon away as quickly as possible. So Alfred took on a support role here. Anti-magic really came in clutch in this fight, as it was essentially a party-wide confusion heal. Things almost took a nasty turn when Alfred himself got confused for a while, but we were able to put down the brain-rupturing demon by this point, so things didn't go off the rails entirely, thankfully. This was a surprisingly difficult battle for me. Confusion tends to be the ultimate final boss when it comes to Digimon World 2. It almost got us here, but we were able to calm things down and put our opponents away one by one. Hopefully I won't have to deal with confusion again anytime soon. I imagine my Digimon have lost most of their brain cells because of all the brain rupturing. Oh well, hopefully they'll grow back someday. Then again, you don't really need any brains when you've got GG Gaming on your side. But we are not done here yet, as the next Blood Knight Elite was right around the corner. I figured, it couldn't be worse than the last one, could it? But boy was I wrong. This dude has a Metal Garurumon. Holy monkey balls. This right here is one hell of a fight. For whatever reason, this random Blood Knight has one of the toughest, most well-rounded teams that we've faced up to this point. It is much harder than the Chaos Lord fight, in my opinion. You see, all three of the Digimon on this team serve an important role. Shogun Gekkomon has Tidal Wave, which I found out the hard way, as I immediately triggered it at the start of the battle. So that slowed down our offense right off the bat. Metal Garurumon is a simple Digimon. It has Kokaida's Breath, which is a pretty epic name I have to say, and it is a nasty party-wide attack. It deals a lot of damage to everyone, so that's really not fun. Tinmon started off with Blue Thunder, which, again, like, why does everyone have that? But it is not a pushover though. Old Man Grandpa connected with Evil Hurricane during the first round, so I thought things were going the right way. If I could work around the damage from Metal Garurumon and avoid Shogun Gekkomon, then everything should be okay, right? Wrong, because Tinman had anti-magic. As terrified as I was in the moment, I was also quite impressed. This Blood Knight knew a thing or two about team building, and you have to respect that. Crimson could probably learn a couple of things from this dude. He was truly an elite Blood Knight. I pivoted to a different strategy and tried to paralyze the Metal Garurumon. If I could avoid Kokaida's breath, then I would be able to focus down that Tinman. Getting the paralysis on Metal Garurumon wasn't that hard, as the party-wide attack would always trigger Thundercloud. And with some good luck, Shogun Gekomon stopped going for Tidal Wave as well. That really helped. But this Metal Garurumon had the temperament, focus, and determination of a champion or something, as it kept shaking off the paralysis ASAP. That was really uncool. For me, I mean. But I kept on it and tried again and again until I wore it down. Eventually, Metal Garurumon began missing a few attacks here and there. Since no one on their side was injured, Tinman avoided using anti-magic as well. But then, Shogun Gekomon brought out Enigma, which is a move that lowers the attack and defense of all vaccine-type Digimon, I think. The old man was the only one who was affected by it, and he could feel the remainder of his strength slowly slipping away. But before Grandpa could kick the bucket, we were able to take down Tinman. With the wind in our sails, our squad was able to take the fight to Metal Garurumon. It took a long time, but we were determined. Eventually, the doggo fell down as well. This entire battle was truly a war, but one that we were able to barely win. It could have easily gone a different way. If we had more vaccine-type Digimon, then Enigma would have ruined us. But we had the right amount of luck and skill to succeed. This legendary Blood Knight elite will be remembered for a long time. Afterwards, we learned that Commander Damien is hiding in a domain called Adware Abyss. Sounds creepy. I like it. Damien probably knows where Crimson is, so let's go get him. Unfortunately, trying to get through this domain without losing my sanity is very difficult. Literally, almost every path leads to a dead end. Maybe the designers of this domain were trying to actively make it one of the worst experiences ever. If they were going for that, then kudos, they really nailed it. On the 10th floor, we run into one more Blood Knight elite. I was super hyped for this. The last battle was incredible. What kind of monster were we about to deal with this time? Well, as it turns out, this one isn't much of a monster, more like a tiny, helpless animal. None of the Digimon here pose a threat in any way, shape, or form. They are all incredibly weak, with pitiful moves that we've seen way too many times already. I was really disappointed. How is this Blood Knight an elite as well? Maybe he is a relative of someone at the top of the hierarchy? Nepotism is the only way that this Blood Knight gets to be the same rank as the last one we fought. Regardless, this battle doesn't take more than a few minutes before we destroy these sad, depressing Digimon. Let's forget about this fight altogether, shall we? On the 14th floor, I found a marine Angemon in the wild. It has been a long time since I made a new friend, but even after giving it every gift I had, I could only get a small heart. Honestly, my heart can't take it anymore. So many toy planes have been wasted this way. This Adware Abyss, will it crush my spirit after all? Well, just as I was about to lose faith, GG Gaming reminded me to never question its power again. We've got a new best friend, yay! With a renewed resolve, I made my way to the 17th floor of Adware Abyss, where I found Commander Damien. It's time to beat him up again. But whoa! What the heck am I looking at here? Commander Damien, this loser, has the ultra rare Platinum Numemon. It has the ultimate poop counter in Platinum Junk, the highest value poop in the entire digital world. It causes demotivation, which isn't really a big deal, as we've seen before. But we've got more status effects to deal with, as Metaletimon is also here with Banana Slip, which causes paralysis. But to be honest with you, this fight is quite forgettable at the end of the day. Again, we've really been spoiled by that Blood Knight elite from earlier. So why is this fight forgettable for me? Well, that's because I have an ace up my sleeves, as we still have Lovely Attack, which wrecks Commander Damien's team cause they're all virus-type Digimon. Keeping that Lovely Attack around has really paid off, although I don't think we really needed it here, in this fight. But it turns what would have been an easy battle into something completely dull. But hey, that's what Commander Damien deserves, right? I don't think he's ever gonna be able to live down this humiliation. Back home, it's finally time for our Alfred to become the legendary king who will lead the way forward. Long live the king, who is actually a prince. Anyway, that last battle with Damien knocked him over the edge, mental health wise, as he tries to blow everything up. But like with everything else, Damien fails again, cementing his place in digital history as a complete loser. We do get to know about Crimson's location though. He's in Rootkit Rift. Try saying that 5 times really fast. Rootkit Rift is a painful domain in every sense of the word. Traps, dead ends, bugs, you name it. It's got everything that you never want to see. But before we can find Crimson, we meet an old friend again. Volt is now Commander Volt. After Damien got captured, Volt got a promotion. Good for him, he's climbing that corporate ladder. His team has gotten a huge upgrade too. He's got 2 mega level Digimon on his side now. Someone has been grinding. Griffinmon has variable wave. Does that mean that his Chimeramon digivolved into this Griffinmon? It is possible, I would say. It also has supersonic wave, which, after it becomes aggressive, can deal a whole lot of damage to my party, in addition to injuring all of them. That is scary. Skullmeramon is a bit odd. More often than not, it uses variable wave too. I guess it loves being aggressive. It can use a party-wide attack as well, but it usually doesn't for some reason. Saberleomon can cause plenty of pain with Nail Crusher, which neutralizes counters. But that's not all what it can do, as this boy has anti-magic as well, to keep his own team healthy. Not a very cute combination from our perspective. But this is a proper sequel to that epic Blood Knight Elite fight. I went with the same strategy that I used in that battle, by paralyzing Griffinmon, their main attacker. I knew I had to take down Saberleomon to stop healing shenanigans from ruining my day. Although it still goes for anti-magic a lot more often than the Digimon we faced before, making this Saberleomon an even bigger threat. Taking their attacks is painful, and my team came quite close to being wiped out. Boy, I was on the edge of my seat. The only saving grace here is that the Skullmeramon is broken, I think. It keeps going for variable wave, no matter what, over and over again. If Volt had a proper third Digimon here, instead of this broken Skullmeramon, I think he would have beaten me. But after Saberleomon was knocked out, things went south pretty quickly for Volt, with Griffinmon paralyzed, and Skullmeramon being his usual aggressive self. It turned into a 3 versus 1 fight in our favor, sort of. As strong as that Griffinmon was, it had no chance of taking on those odds. Volt definitely showed us that he deserved to be a commander of the Blood Knights. If only he had brought something else besides that Skullmeramon, things could have turned out so differently. Oh well, GG Volt. GG indeed. Afterwards, Volt chooses to stop being a Blood Knight altogether and leaves to pursue, I don't know, an art degree or something? I like to think that's what happened. I suppose Volt really wasn't a bad guy after all. Cause at the end of the day, the real bad guy of this game will always be the game design. Here, I found a freaking Puppetmon, and really, I gave it everything I had. If it hadn't ignored some of my very expensive gifts, I would have gotten a big heart. But as it was, all those gifts could only get me a medium heart. There was no way around that. I did everything right, but sometimes even GG Gaming can't possibly be expected to defeat game design of this disgusting kind every time. So many bits have been lost to the void. No wonder it's so hard to make friends these days. It's way too expensive to even try. Anyway, after that massive disappointment, we finally find Crimson on the 25th freaking floor. Crimson has some very interesting things to say, stuff that makes you think about what's really going on. Who are we? What are we doing here? And most importantly, where are they? All questions that can only be answered through violence. Crimson ain't holding back, that's for sure. 3 epic mega level Digimon stand in our way. That Seraphimon is especially problematic, as it has venom infused. Seems a bit out of character for an angelic Digimon to have a move like that, but you can't question the effectiveness. I went with Evil Wind immediately to try and slow them all down. Speed can often play an important role in these battles, and it's always a good idea to be faster. But check out this Imperial Dramon. It has Infinity Cannon. Crimson has been working on his DNA Digivolutions apparently, and Imperial Dramon seems to be a pro with the cannon, as the move connects many times before eventually missing. With Infinity Cannon being immune to counters and interrupts, all I could do was watch. Interestingly, while Imperial Dramon starts off the fight with the cannon, it then switches to Mega Fire for pretty much the rest of the fight. Mega Fire is also a pretty powerful attack, but not nearly as annoying as the cannon. But Seraphimon is at a different level altogether. Besides having access to Venom Infuse, it also brings a new healing skill too, one we haven't even seen yet. Final Heal. It's as naughty as it sounds. 200 HP party-wide healing is pretty crazy, and there is no set pattern for when it decides to use the move either. Seraphimon could just spam the hell out of it if it wanted to, and every time it uses Final Heal, we get set back quite a bit. Magnadramon is pretty straightforward. It either uses a strong single target attack or a strong party-wide one. It's not fun either way, but it's not complicated. I did have to rely on a bit of luck during this fight. It was all about how often Seraphimon chose to use Final Heal, really. I had to hang in there and keep on going after it, until I finally got a couple of rounds in a row without Final Heal. When not using the heal, it can go for Starlight Explosion instead of Venom Infuse, which we've seen before. It's the weakest move we have to deal with here, and I was always happy to see that, instead of one of the other two moves. I brought our new best friend into this battle because it had access to anti-magic. Marine Angemon couldn't do a whole lot offensively, but the healing did come in handy, especially since I had Giga Heal as well. But this battle was rough, for sure. I had to remain vigilant and wait for my opportunity, but once I got the required RNG to put away Seraphimon, things got a whole lot easier. I was half expecting the Magnadramon to pull out a revival skill or something. Crimson did bring a heck of a fight, just not enough of a fight to overcome our GG Gaming. Crimson isn't ready to be captured yet though. He's heading to a place known as the Colonel, so I guess we haven't seen the last of him yet. But we have seen the last of our new best friend, at least in its present form. Marine Angemon and Grandpa combined together to create one more donkey. It was time to take on the final battles of the Colosseum, so I decided to get ready. And after a whole bunch of DNAs and grinding, I had a whole new team to show off. Evil Jeff, the Black Virgarurumon, does look amazing, but wait till you see its Digivolution. Oh yeah, Black Metal Garurumon. Have you ever seen anything so awesome? Its special move is the Grace Cross Freezer, which can lower speed and potentially paralyze the entire opposing party at the same time. Crazy, am I right? And of course, our king is gonna lead from the front. Level 39 King Alfred. Oh yeah. And what about Donkey? Well, he shed the skin to become an even scarier donkey. I felt like we were ready for anything with this new team. Since I hadn't cleared most of the early Colosseum battles, I had to take care of them first. They're really not worth talking about though, as we are absurdly overpowered for the vast majority of them. We do get to see some new faces in the Colosseum though. We get to fight characters like Ben Oldman and even Kim. I enjoyed these additions that this mod has made. And we do face off against our eternal rival, Bertrand, a couple of times as well. It turns out that Bertrand is as useless as he was in the base game after all, as his Digimon get absolutely hammered by our new team. Bertrand even accuses us of cheating after getting repeatedly destroyed in the arena. How sad for Bertrand. Anyway, it was now time for the main event, to take on the secret hidden boss that has been lurking in the background for almost the entire game, Lucky Lewis. I know he doesn't look like a big deal, but don't let that deceive you. This is a literal demon in human form. When I saw his team, I was a bit concerned, but I didn't think he would be all that strong. I mean, he still had an ultimate level Digimon on his side after all. How weak! The fact that Piedmon here had brain rupture should have put me on high alert, but I was still taking it easy. Too easy. I figured that since I had anti-magic, I didn't need to worry about confusion. And by extension, I didn't think I had to worry about Lucky Lewis either. Oh, how wrong I was. A momentary lapse of judgment led to something truly horrifying. All of my friends had ended up confused at the same time. I don't know exactly how many beats my heart skipped as I tried to grasp what had just happened, but I bet it was more than a few. Remember, you can't use items during a Colosseum fight, so I was basically completely at the mercy of RNG. And you know why they call him Lucky Lewis? It's because this demon is incredibly lucky. My team simply took way too long to shake off the confusion, and by the time they did, they were nearly dead. But I wasn't about to give up. I had to keep believing in our friends and the power of GG Gaming, right? There was only one way out of this. If I could confuse the Piedmon, and if it then confused the other Digimon on its side, that could give me enough time to stabilize things. Assuming the confusion lasted long enough, that could be my way out. While it was a good plan, Lucky Lewis had way too much RNG in his favor. While we did get the confusion to eventually land on Piedmon, it refused to confuse his own teammates. Why? I don't know. It either didn't use Brain Rupture at all, or even when it did, the confusion didn't land when Piedmon was targeting his friends. That was some BS right there. Oh, and did I mention that High Andromon has final heal? Cause yeah, that's a thing too. My party tried to hang in there. They tried to keep fighting for as long as they could, to try and buy me some time so I could help them create a comeback. But Lucky Lewis, that monster, simply laughed as my Digimon and I struggled until the bitter end. One by one, they all fell down, until finally, King Alfred was simply too proud to be knocked out by an enemy, so he did it himself. Our party had been wiped out, defeated and embarrassed in the most disturbing way imaginable. After the fight, Lucky Lewis took a couple of verbal shots at us too. This one is truly an evil creature. Well, all I could do was walk away, for now. But I was in a heap of trouble. The fact that my main party was defeated wasn't the only issue here. The more pressing problem was that I didn't really have anything at all in the form of backup. All those friends I had barely missed out on, it was all coming back to haunt me in the worst possible way. After DNA digivolving my fallen friends, all I had left were 2 Digimon, not even enough to form a full party. There weren't even any unexplored domains, so what now? Is this the end? Did we really come all the way here to be stopped by freaking Lucky Lewis? Could I take him on with only 2 Digimon? Would that even be possible? Well, the answers to all of those questions and more will have to wait. I tried to fit everything here in part 2, but it wasn't possible. Will Lucky Lewis be the end of our Nuzlocke journey? Or is there a way for us to find salvation? We will find out next time! If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you would like to support the channel, you can do so on my Patreon, where I've got exclusive content and playthroughs. And now, here's a quick shout out to my wonderful patrons. Thank you Vanilla, Yog, Blake CN1, Hero Emblem, Carl Dean, Jonathan Harley, Andre Nusantara, Dark Soul 1243, Cerberus Whiteheart, and our newest member, Jack Hawkins, for your continued support. And here's a special shout out to McDivil, Cool Name, and Pascal, a couple of awesome friends of the channel. The power of your friendship keeps nerdhood safe and sound. Thank you sincerely, my friends. And now, for an ultra strong shout out to the incredible people who keep the digital world safe from every villain out there. A huge thank you to the amazing duo of Shamine and Derpin Goose for your support. You are both the best, like no one ever was. I'll be honest with you, things are looking bleak right now, but there has to be a way for us to keep moving forward. I just know there is. All I have to do is look hard enough to find it. Till next time, everyone. Stay tuned.